Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm are two of the most famous German storytellers of all time. Now, you might be familiar with the movies like The Brothers Grimm or the TV series Grimm, but don't be fooled. These two brothers didn't spend their lives hunting witches, and they certainly didn't look like Matt Damon or Heath Ledger. So you've probably heard of stories like Cinderella and Snow White, right? Growing up, it's likely you watched the Disney movies or had fairy tales read to you. Well, the history of storytelling is a long and interesting one, and it all started a long, long time ago. Now, we're not going to go all the way back to the origins of storytelling, but we will start off in the late 1700s with the birth of Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. The Grimms were born in the late 1700s in Hanau. This is when most of Europe was still united as the Holy Roman Empire. During their lifetime, the Grimms saw massive change within their cultural and political climate, which was one of the factors that led them to preserve German culture through the collection of folktales. The idea of what was child appropriate has really changed when it comes to storytelling. For example, in the Grimm's version of Cinderella, the evil stepsisters cut off their own toes and heels and then later have their eyes pecked out by birds. By today's standards, this is still pretty gruesome when compared to the Disney version, where the wicked stepsisters simply don't get what they want. However, the Grimm's version seems tame when compared to an Indonesian version of the tale, where Cinderella forced her stepsister into a cauldron of boiling water, then has the body cut up and pickled to then be sent to the stepmother to be eaten as salt meat. Again, not something Disney was likely to put in their movie version. The Grimm brothers collected stories from all around Germany and published them in their anthology of Kinder- und Hausmärchen, Children and Household Tales. In their lifetime, they collected and published over 200 stories, including famous tales that have since been recreated by Disney, like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. Although the Grimms collected these tales, it's important to remember that they didn't actually come up with them. Tales like Cinderella, for example, are found all around the world. In fact, there are hundreds of variations of the Cinderella tale alone. There's even a classification system to track these similarities between tales. It's called the Arne-Thompson-Uther classification system, or the ATU. Other than helping shape modern fairy tales, the Grimms also had another massive contribution to the literary world. This was through their work and research as linguists. Jacob Grimm published a book in 1819 called Deutsche Grammatik, or German Grammar. In this book, he explained a system of sound change, now known today as Grimm's Law. This law is still considered today to be one of the most important linguistic discoveries regarding phonetics and sound change. So, there you have it, a brief introduction to the Grimm brothers and some of their incredible contributions to German culture, storytelling, and linguistics.